All right, so let's have a little fun getting started here. This may be information that you don't know, but stuff like this is fascinating for me. So let's talk about the history of blogging, where it came from. So we know that the internet was developed and really gained popularity in the 90s, and that's really where the story begins for blogging. So let's jump in here and talk about the first blog. This is typically associated with the first really appearance of a blog type section anywhere across the internet, and that was in 1994, and it was links.net. And this was Justin Hall, who was a student at Swarthmore College. And he basically just created a website that he updated on a regular basis with posts. And one of the key things that separates blogs from other databases or sources of information is that they're typically sorted from most recent to most in the past. So what you see at the very top is the most recent post, so it's in reverse order based on when it was posted. So this is a screenshot here of links.net. This website still actually exists on the internet, but it was Justin Hall's blog, again a student at Swarthmore College, and just had the idea to post regular updates to his website, and thus becoming really the first notable blog in existence. Because as I said before that, websites were just kind of static. They weren't really utilized for this purpose. They were really utilized to be a source of just static information. But Justin Hall had the idea to make it a consistently updated source of information, and he is credited with creating the first blog. The actual term weblog was first coined in 1997 by John Barger, who ran the site Robot Wisdom. You can see a screenshot there of his website. And what this essentially was, he coined the term weblog because it was essentially a log on the web of links that he came across. So he didn't actually create any, original content, so to speak. He just curated it. So, the first blog that was called a blog was actually not original content. It was just curated content, which is fascinating. That's something that we see now that is becoming more and more popular again, is this idea that curation is the new creation, because there's so much content out there. And so even back in 1997, John Barger saw that there was a ton of content out there, and he wanted to create a space where he was just logging everything that was notable to him. A lot of people do this now with newsletters and things like that. So this was kind of really, he was kind of a pioneer in two ways there of being credited with creating the first weblog, but also, really kicking off this trend of curating content from across the internet. And then the first weblog, the first mainstream weblog, because until this point they were all run by just people, not companies and things like that. So the first weblog on a mainstream news site appeared in 1998 when Jonathan Dube blogged about Hurricane Bonnie for the Charlotte Observer. So this was the first time that we really saw weblogging being utilized for the use of getting information out there, for getting up-to-date information, because Hurricane Bonnie was coming in and people wanted to follow it. And so Jonathan Dube on the Charlotte Observer website created a spot where he was consistently updating information with the latest information about the hurricane. And this, became really the first news blog and source for up-to-date information, like up-to-the-minute information about Hurricane Bonnie. And then in 1999, weblog was shortened to blog by programmer Peter Merholz. And I don't know if that was just out of weblog can be a mouthful. If you're saying it over and over, it was gaining popularity. But this is where the term blog became the shortened version of weblog, and that's when it became really part of our internet terminology. But then it wasn't until 4 years later in 2004 that the word blog was officially recognized as a term by Merriam-Webster in the dictionary. So in 2004, blog became an official word, an official part of our culture, an official part of of internet content. And so there you go. From 1994 to 2004, in the span of about 10 years, we go from something that started out as an idea of just creating updated content online to full-blown part of our culture, part of our everyday wording and everyday speak, and added to the dictionary. So there it is, your brief history of blogging.